Well, I think the main reaction has been that this was a pretty reckless act by the president that also seems probably against medical advice, in large part because the Secret Service agents driving his vehicle would have been exposed to the virus in that sort of closed in space. So I think people are worried that it's an extension of the kind of reckless behavior that landed him with the virus in the first place.
Well, we've had such conflicting information over the state of the president's health right from the start when we weren't even sure when Donald Trump knew he'd contracted COVID-19. Have we had any clarification since?
So there was a little bit of clarification in terms of finding out that he was on oxygen and finding out a little bit more about the timeline. However, we're finding out this information from someone who's already tried to mislead the press about the president's condition. So we're largely learning from reporters what the president's condition is, more so than from his own doctor.
And how is the contact tracing going with regards to the cluster of cases linked to the White House and the staff members who shared the ride with Donald Trump? They're now required to quarantine for 14 days.
Right, and that's only happening haphazardly. So it was just yesterday that the people in New Jersey who were exposed on Thursday were beginning to be contacted. As far as that Rose Garden ceremony, we still don't know if there's contact tracing happening. So it's moving very slowly and very haphazardly.
Nicole, we already know Donald Trump has his own way and style of doing things. What has been his strategy since being admitted to hospital, and how does the communication differ from previous administrations?
So really what the president has tried to do is control the message and to project strength. And so you see this with the videos he's released and the images that have been released and the messages he's instructed his doctor to pass along. Now, there was a time in U.S. history where Americans got very sketchy information about presidential health. I'm thinking of Woodrow Wilson in 1919 has a stroke that's hidden from the public, or Franklin Roosevelt in 1944 was very ill when he was running for re-election, and in fact dies just a little after he's sworn in for his fourth term. But since the 1970s, really, we've been getting a much clearer picture of presidential health and much higher expectations of transparency on this issue. So this is a deviation from what we're used to.
Well, it is 4 weeks until the election. The president's assured an aggressive campaign schedule will resume this week, fronted by 3 of his children and Mike Pence, and he will do what he can from quarantine, I guess. But how might this impact his popularity?
It's a great question. So one of the things that the president didn't want was to have coronavirus be the main story in this last month of the campaign. It's one of the issues that he pulls most poorly on. And because of this illness, it is very likely that the closing month of this campaign will be about exactly that. So we're likely to see actually a greater divide between him and Joe Biden as people react to this news and react to the actions of the president that led to this moment.
Do you think, in a way, it could actually boost his ratings, the fact that he has been admitted to hospital and that he's experienced it? And what do you think the reaction could be leading up to the polls?
So it's entirely possible that that could happen. We just won't know until we start to see some polling come out. We do know, based on the early polling, that most Americans, somewhere between 65 and 75%, say that it was the president's recklessness that led to him contracting the disease. And so that might mitigate against that kind of sympathy bounce. But we really don't know until we see how things unfold over the next few weeks.
Nicole Hemmer, thank you so much for joining us on The World.
Thank you.